All right, to discuss further, let's bring in retired FBI Supervisory Special Agent and author of The Secret to Cybersecurity, Scott Augenbaum. Scott, great to have you. And that was quite the report there, because, I mean, this year we've seen hundreds of millions of stolen items, stolen IDs through scams. And the FBI says phone-based fraud is one of the fastest growing threats this holiday season. So how big is the problem this year, or are these scams just the norm around the holiday season?
Well, let's unpack this. There's so much that we need to get to when we're talking about these things. Every day our phones are ringing. It looks like it's coming from the bank. I just dealt with a sweet older woman who got a call that appeared to be coming from Citibank saying that her banking card was compromised, but it wasn't Citibank, and as a result, she lost $20,000. So look, there's a lot that we need to unpack here today, and especially this time of year.
Yeah, I mean, it's so awful that already it's the holidays. People are dealing with a lot of stress, and then to also target the elderly population, or really any population for that matter, it's just really just the worst of the worst people here. But could current phone carrier and phone OS safeguards stop these scams, or are more drastic measures needed? What can regular smartphone users who use their iPhone or Android do right now to protect themselves?
Sure. Well, everyone needs to have what I like to call a cybersecure mindset. If you receive a telephone call and you believe it's actually your bank, stop, listen, hang up, and call them back. Very, very important. It might even show up on your caller ID. It might look like it's coming from your bank, but could be coming up, could be your credit card, could be any of your finance companies. It could even be Amazon. Stop, think before we click, think before we act. It could go such a long way. And the most painful thing for me is when I deal with these victims, so often law enforcement can't put the bad guys in jail because they're operating from overseas. And it makes it very, very challenging.
Yeah, I mean, it is challenging. And even if they aren't overseas, to have the recourse with the various banks, you have to sit and do all this authentication. It's just so difficult. So I'm glad you're giving us the tips on how to prevent all this. But we also hear some reports about how scammers are using AI voice cloning. I mean, this is something that is also pretty prevalent. How can we spot this danger, Scott?
Yeah, we have to be careful. Artificial intelligence exists. For a couple of dollars, you can subscribe to a website. It could take the voice. It could mimic it. So let's just make sure, especially for us and our family and our businesses, let's have a code word. Like, I traveled overseas a couple of weeks ago. I went out of the country. I told my family, if I do not say this one word and I'm asking for money, it means it is not me. We cannot stop what the bad guys are going to do. They have so many dirty tricks that they're going to throw, but we can prevent ourselves from becoming the next cybercrime victim. I don't talk to victims today where I don't say that could have been prevented, just with the right bits of knowledge.
At one point, Scott, I thought you were going to say the word, and then I was like, oh no, but he's an expert. He would never say the word that he would share with his family. I have to do something like that with my family. But turning to this, Australia, they're making some headlines today as it becomes the first country ever to implement a social media ban for kids under 16 years old. How important is this? Because it does set a precedent, and will it be easy to enforce? Do you see maybe other countries following suit?
Yeah, just think about the pushback you're going to get. I mean, social media is influencing so many kids. Unfortunately, children and even adults are spending way too much on this. We have to set guardrails up. But, you know, unfortunately today, the kids are going to use VPNs. They're going to, which are virtual private networks, to sneak around this. As parents, before we give our children one of these devices that connects them to the world, we have to set boundaries. We have to know what our children are doing online. We can't wait for the government. We can't wait for big tech to really try to keep our kids safe. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how this works in Australia.
Yeah, we'll all be watching to see if they apply it here in the United States. Scott Augenbaum, as always, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas.
You bet.